You feed him, walk him, keep him warm at night. You give him love in every way you know how. He trusts you with his whole heart, and you believe the food you share is part of that love. But what if I told you those very habits, the meals and snacks that feel harmless, could be quietly stealing years from his life? Every single day, owners just like you make feeding mistakes that don't show their damage until it's far too late. Here's the shocking truth: only 2% of senior dog owners ever avoid all of these mistakes. Most make at least 3 without realizing it. In this video, I'll reveal 15 dog feeding mistakes that silently harm your dog's health every day, and I'll show you simple, safe alternatives. No costly diets, no complicated rules. Just small changes that mean more mornings, more wagging tails, more years together. Let's begin with the very first mistake hiding right now in your pantry. Number 1. Xylitol, the sweet killer in disguise. It looks so innocent, doesn't it? A spoon of peanut butter on a treat, a sugar-free candy from your purse, even that little piece of gum you drop on the floor. To us, it's sweetness, comfort, a tiny pleasure. But to your dog, Xylitol is like a loaded gun hidden inside sugar. Within 30 minutes of swallowing it, his blood sugar can collapse so fast he'll stumble, shake, and drop as if the world has suddenly gone dark. His liver, the organ that fights for him every day, begins to shut down silently while he still looks at you with trust in his eyes. And here's the haunting part you might not even know until it's too late. In one clinical report, doses as small as a crumb were enough to send dogs into seizures. Think about it. How many times have you left a pack of gum on the counter or shared a spoonful of peanut butter? The very treat you thought showed love could be the trap that takes him away. But don't lose hope. The fix is simple. Natural peanut butter, just roasted peanuts, and nothing else is safe and loved just as much. No fancy brands, no expensive diets, just a small change that could give you more years of wet noses and wagging tails. And if you think that's frightening, wait until you hear the next mistake. It's sizzling in the pan, filling the kitchen with a smell no dog can resist, and yet every strip is like fuel poured onto a hidden fire inside their body. Number 2. Bacon, the fatty trap that burns from within. Picture the scene. A Sunday morning, the skillet crackles, and that unmistakable smell of bacon floats through the air. Your dog's eyes widen, his tail thumps against the floor, and for a moment you think, what harm could one piece do? But that strip of bacon is not a harmless treat. To his small body, it's like pouring molten oil straight into a fragile machine. The fat surges through his veins, overwhelming his pancreas, until it swells and burns from the inside. The salt, invisible but relentless, pounds on his kidneys with every bite, and the preservatives. They linger quietly, building up like rust on metal until disease takes root. Veterinarians see it too often, dogs doubled over in pain, their owners whispering, "It was just a tiny piece." To a 20-pound dog, that single strip is the equivalent of you swallowing a whole pizza dripping in grease and salt. He can't tell you his insides are on fire, but his silence is no protection. The heartbreaking truth. What feels like love in that moment may be laying the foundation for years of suffering. But here's the hope-boiled, skinless chicken gives the same joy without the silent damage. A simple swap, and you've traded a weapon for a gift of health. And if bacon makes you uneasy, brace yourself. Because the next mistake hides inside something that sounds healthy, something doctors even call brain food. You may have opened the can this week without realizing you were slowly feeding poison. Number 3. Canned fish, the brain food that turns toxic. You've heard it for years. Fish is brain food, heart healthy, a gift from the sea. So one afternoon, you open a can of tuna, scoop out a little, and share it with those eager eyes at your side. He licks the spoon tail, wagging, and you feel like you've given him something wholesome. But hidden inside that silver can is a slow poison. The mercury that hides in tuna and other canned fish doesn't vanish after one meal. It lingers drop by drop, collecting in his nervous system like shadows gathering in a quiet room. Over time, it steals his balance, muddles his brain, and in the cruelest twist, it can trigger seizures that shake his small body while he looks at you for help you can't give. The oil and salt packed in those cans pile on more damage, grinding against his kidneys, weighing heavy on his liver. And here's the cruel irony: what you thought would make him stronger is actually chiseling away at the very organs that keep him alive. Yet the solution is so simple. Fresh salmon or sardines, gently steamed with nothing added, bring shine to his coat and strength to his body without the hidden toxins. But if you think canned fish is dangerous, wait until you see the next mistake. It isn't hidden in a cupboard, it's steaming on your stovetop, a cheap and easy fix when the dog food runs out. And yet inside that bowl of noodles lies a chemical storm ready to tear into his body. Number 4. Instant Noodles, the chemical storm in a bowl. It happens late at night. The dog food bag is empty, the stores are closed, and you glance at the pantry for a quick fix. A packet of instant noodles seems harmless, even generous. You boil the water, tear the foil, and within minutes your dog is slurping noodles beside you, tail wagging. But hidden inside that innocent packet is a storm. The flavoring dust carries salt like a tidal wave, draining water from his body, forcing his kidneys to labor until they falter. Onion and garlic powder lie in wait, tiny crystals of poison that shred his red blood cells. The MSG, the artificial flavors, the preservatives, they are sparks that land on his liver, burning slowly, leaving scars that never fully heal. And the noodles themselves, empty fuel, swelling his belly, fattening his frame, pushing him toward diabetes. What you thought was comfort food becomes a chemical ambush. And yet the cure is so simple. A handful of brown rice boiled plain mixed with soft vegetables feeds him gently without the hidden knives. The time it takes is no longer than tearing open that shiny packet. But if instant noodles make you uneasy, prepare yourself for the next mistake, because it hides inside a food sold as healthy, even immune-boosting. Owners give it daily with the best intentions, never realizing they are setting their dog's stomach on fire. Number 5. Flavored yogurt, the sweet trap for the gut. You've heard it 100 times. Yogurt is healthy. Probiotics are good for the stomach. A little spoonful must be a gift. So you peel back the foil, your dog licks eagerly, and you smile thinking you've done something right. But inside that pink swirl of strawberry or blueberry flavor lies a trap. The sugar floods his blood like a rising tide, spiking and crashing, setting him on the path to diabetes. And worse, many brands slip in that silent killer you've already met. Xylitol, sweet on the tongue, lethal in the liver. Even without it, here's the truth: no one tells you most adult dogs are lactose intolerant. What seems like a creamy treat is actually a stomach torture device, bubbling and cramping his gut until he lies quietly, suffering in silence because he cannot explain the pain. Artificial colors, artificial flavors, they paint a pretty mask over poison. But here's the hope. A spoon of plain Greek yogurt, or better yet, a lactose-free option, nourishes gently, soothing rather than burning. A tiny switch, and you've turned suffering into comfort. And if you thought yogurt was surprising, wait until you hear the next mistake. Because it's not something you serve in a bowl, it's something that falls to the floor so small you barely notice, but powerful enough to paralyze even the strongest of dogs. Number 6. Nuts, the tiny bite that shakes the body. It happens in an instant. You sit with a bowl of mixed nuts, one slips from your fingers, and before you can bend down, he's already scooped it into his mouth. You laugh at first, such a small thing. What harm could it do? But inside that tiny bite is a storm waiting to break. Macadamia nuts hold a natural toxin that creeps into his nervous system, like invisible wires being cut. Within hours, his legs weaken, his body trembles, and he struggles to rise as if gravity itself has turned against him. Walnuts carry their own dark secret, lacing the liver with poison until seizures take hold. Even almonds, the safe nut, can wedge in his throat or twist inside his gut like a locked door blocking life itself. And the salt sprinkled on most of them. It swells his throat, chokes his breath, while you wonder why a single snack turned deadly. What felt like a harmless crunch becomes a gamble with his body. The safer choice is just as simple: crisp cucumber slices or sweet baby carrots, the crunch without the cruelty, joy without the risk. But if you think a fallen nut is frightening, wait for what comes next. Because the next mistake wears a familiar disguise: roasted chicken, golden skin seasoned with love, yet hidden within that Sunday feast, is a triple threat that can tear at his organs from 3 directions at once. Number 7. Roasted chicken, the Sunday feast that turns fatal. The table is set. The aroma of roasted chicken fills the room, and your dog sits faithfully by your side, nose twitching, eyes shining with hope. You think it's just chicken, surely it's safe. You pull off a crispy piece of skin, seasoned golden brown, and he devours it with joy. But what you've given him is not a feast, it's a fuse. That glistening skin is a fat bomb exploding inside his fragile pancreas until it inflames, swells, and burns from within. The garlic and onion powders rubbed into the meat strike at his red blood cells like silent assassins, weakening them until his blood can no longer carry oxygen. Even the herbs sprinkled with love can tip his body into seizures if the dose grows high enough. And the salt, so invisible you never count it, pounds against his kidneys with every bite. To you it's a Sunday tradition, but to him it's a triple-edged blade. Yet the solution is gentle and simple: plain boiled chicken breast, skinless, unseasoned, the same flavor he craves without the poison laced around it. But if roasted chicken makes you uneasy, prepare yourself. Because the next mistake doesn't carry the smell of herbs or the crackle of fat. It comes frozen, sweet, and creamy, and with every lick it churns your dog's stomach into hours of silent torture. Number 8. Dairy products, the creamy treat that torments the stomach. The summer sun beats down, your ice cream drips, and those pleading eyes lock onto you. Just one lick, you think. Just one taste. He laps at the creamy sweetness, tail wagging, and for a moment it feels like joy shared between best friends. But beneath that cold delight lies hours of silent suffering. Most adult dogs lose the ability to break down lactose, and that scoop of love becomes a ticking bomb. His stomach churns, gas bubbles rise, cramps twist him until he curls in quiet agony, unable to tell you why he no longer wants to move. The sugar spikes his blood, setting the stage for diabetes, while milk proteins scratch at his skin from the inside, itching until his paws lick raw and his ears flare with infection. It looks innocent, it feels loving, but it tortures him long after the taste has gone. And yet the solution is kind and simple: frozen banana slices or a spoon of plain coconut yogurt, cool and safe, still a treat without the torment. But if dairy makes you uneasy, brace yourself. Because the next mistake smells warm and comforting, fresh from the oven, yet inside it ferments like a hidden brewery that can make your dog drunk and leave his stomach twisted in a deadly knot. Number 9. Bread, the innocent loaf that brews trouble. The kitchen fills with the smell of fresh bread warm from the oven, soft and golden. You tear off a piece, your dog looks up with those hopeful eyes, and you think it's just bread. What harm could it do? But inside that simple loaf hides a dangerous secret. The yeast doesn't die the moment it hits his stomach. It keeps fermenting, bubbling, swelling until his belly inflates like a balloon stretched too tight. Gas builds, pain grips, and in the worst moments his stomach twists on itself, a deadly knot called bloat that can take his life in hours. And as the yeast ferments, it brews alcohol, turning his bloodstream into a cruel cocktail that leaves him staggering like he's drunk, his heart racing, his body confused. Even the refined flour drives his blood sugar up, laying the groundwork for obesity and diabetes. What seemed like a harmless crumb becomes a ticking bomb inside his fragile body. Yet the fix is simple, crisp carrot sticks, fresh apple slices, the same satisfying bite without the hidden brewery inside. And if bread makes you uneasy, the next mistake will shock you even more. Because it's not baked in an oven or sizzling in a pan, it's poured into a bowl every morning, colorful and sweet, yet so loaded with sugar and chemicals, it's closer to candy than food. Number 10. Breakfast cereals. The colorful crunch that acts like candy. The morning sun streams through the window, your spoon clinks against the bowl, and your dog waits patiently for a few pieces to fall his way. Those bright, crunchy shapes look so harmless. Some even say whole grain or fortified on the box. But inside that colorful promise hides more sugar than a candy bar. Each piece he crunches shatters into glucose that floods his blood like a sugar storm, spiking, crashing, straining his pancreas until exhaustion sets in. The artificial dyes made from chemicals you can't even pronounce seep quietly into his liver, like drops of paint staining clean water. And sometimes hidden among the flakes and clusters are raisins or chocolate chips, tiny grenades that can shut his kidneys down without warning. Even the milk poured over it turns cruel, fermenting in his gut, leaving him bloated, restless, and unable to tell you why he hurts. What you thought was a cheerful morning bite is closer to dessert disguised as breakfast. But here's the fix. A spoonful of plain cooked oats or a slice of banana gives him sweetness and crunch without the hidden traps. And if sugary cereals make you uneasy, the next mistake will shake you even harder. Because it isn't about too much sugar or fat, it's about a fruit so common, so innocent, that even one bite can send a dog into kidney failure. Number 11. Grapes and Raisins, the deadly fruit that plays Russian roulette. You sit at the table, a bowl of grapes beside you, sweet and cool, the kind of snack doctors call heart-healthy. A grape slips from your hand, rolls across the floor, and before you can reach it, your dog has swallowed it whole. You smile at first, it's just fruit. But here lies one of the most terrifying truths in veterinary medicine. Grapes and raisins are like Russian roulette for dogs. Some survive a handful, others collapse after just one. The toxin hides in the skin, the flesh, the juice, every part of it. And once it enters his system, it moves fast. Within hours, he may vomit, grow weak, and then, without warning, his kidneys begin to shut down. The organ that filters his blood, the quiet river that keeps him alive, suddenly dries up. By the time you notice pale gums and silent lethargy, the damage is already deep. There is no safe dose, not one grape, not one raisin. Every single piece is a spin of the chamber with his life on the line. The good news, blueberries or strawberries offer the same sweet reward packed with antioxidants without the deadly gamble. And if grapes feel like a cruel betrayal, the next mistake will chill you even further. Because it doesn't come from fruit. It sprouts from your pantry shelf, turning green like a warning sign from nature itself, carrying a poison that creeps into your dog's nerves until even his heartbeat stumbles. Number 12. Green potatoes, the hidden neurotoxin lurking in your pantry. You open the pantry and spot a sack of potatoes a little sprouted their skins, turning green under the dim light. You think nothing of it, just a vegetable, maybe not fresh, but harmless. One peel drops to the floor, your dog snaps it up, and the danger has already begun. In those green skins lies solanine, a toxin nature painted in warning. To you, it might cause a stomach ache, but to him, it's a creeping poison that attacks the nervous system, like frayed wires sparking in the dark. His heart rhythm stumbles, his legs weaken, his breathing turns shallow, and in severe cases, paralysis takes hold, as if his body has been unplugged. Even raw or undercooked potatoes carry this hidden threat, swelling his belly and choking his gut. What you thought was a simple peel can over time become the seed of disaster. But the cure is simple, vigilant: store potatoes in a cool, dark place, throw away anything green or sprouted, and never let a peel fall where eager paws can find it. And if green potatoes sound frightening, the next mistake will shock you in another way. Because it isn't a strange vegetable or a forgotten peel, it's something you cook almost daily, a comfort food so common you think of it as safe. But the way it's prepared turns it into a hidden bomb for your dog's kidneys. Number 13. Rice, the comfort food that can turn deadly. Rice feels like the safest choice in the world. It's what doctors recommend for upset stomachs, what families serve to soothe what you might turn to when the dog food bag runs empty. You boil a pot, scoop a warm spoonful into his bowl, and watch him eat with gratitude. But here's the danger. Rice itself isn't the villain, it's the way we prepare it. A pinch of salt, a pat of butter, a ladle of broth cooked with onions and garlic, and suddenly that comfort turns into a slow-acting bomb. Sodium creeps into his kidneys like tiny hammers, striking the same spot over and over. Garlic compounds slip silently into his blood, tearing at his red cells until oxygen runs thin. And if the grains are uncooked, they swell inside his belly, expanding like cement, until the pain makes him restless and bloated. The fix is gentle and simple: plain rice boiled only in water in small amounts, or better still, brown rice for nutrition that heals instead of harms. And if rice surprises you, the next mistake may feel even more familiar, because it isn't born in your kitchen at all. It arrives in a cardboard box, dripping with cheese and meat, the smell so tempting even you can't resist. But to your dog, that slice is nothing less than a toxic cocktail. Number 14. Pizza, the slice that poisons every organ. The box opens, steam rises, and that familiar aroma of melted cheese, tangy sauce, and sizzling pepperoni fills the room. Your dog's nose twitches, his eyes lock on yours, and when you hand him a small piece of crust, he devours it with joy. But that single bite is no innocent treat. It's a layered poison. The cheese drips with fat and lactose, burning through his stomach and pushing his pancreas toward painful inflammation. The sauce, rich with onion and garlic, slices at his red blood cells until his very blood grows weak. The meat's pepperoni sausage are packed with salt and preservatives that choke his kidneys with every chew. Even the crust itself, soft and golden, hides refined flour and yeast that spike his blood sugar and brew gas in his belly like a storm. What feels like a shared moment of love is in truth a toxic cocktail attacking every organ he has. Yet the safer swap is simple plain chicken or fresh vegetables, the kind of food that heals instead of harms. And if pizza feels shocking, prepare yourself for the final mistake, because it doesn't come from your plate, your oven, or your fridge. It hides in a place you'd never suspect: your medicine cabinet, and just one pill, one tablet, can unravel your dog from the inside out. Number 15. Human vitamins, the tiny pill that can tear down a life. You open your medicine cabinet, rows of bottles lined up like soldiers of health. A daily ritual for you, One pill for the heart, another for the bones, a chewable vitamin for energy. But to your dog, even one of these tiny tablets can be a ticking time bomb. Iron pills tear at his stomach like shards of glass, leaving trails of blood his body cannot stop. Too much vitamin D scorches his kidneys, shutting down the very filters that keep him alive. Calcium overload twists his heartbeat into an uneven drum, a rhythm of danger. Even the harmless chewables sweetened with xylitol can crash his blood sugar within minutes, sending him trembling to the floor. What you see as life-giving supplements are to him poisons in disguise. And here lies the cruel twist, because he doesn't know. He only trusts you. One curious sniff, one accidental swallow, and the bond you've built over years can be broken in a single night. The safest path is simple: never share your vitamins, and if your dog needs supplements, only trust those made for him by your veterinarian. From the first meal you place in his bowl to the quiet walks at dusk, your dog has trusted every gesture of love. What you didn't know before is that some of those gestures, those tiny bites from your plate, those careless crumbs on the floor, can steal time away from you both. Now you see it clearly. Love isn't just giving. Love is protecting. These 15 mistakes, they seemed so small, so harmless. But you've seen how easily they can wound from the inside out. And you've also learned that the fixes are simple. Plain chicken instead of bacon, fresh carrots instead of salted nuts, safe dog supplements instead of human pills. Small choices, but each one adds mornings, adds years, adds memories waiting to be made. So I'll ask you one last time, which mistake shook you most? Write it below, share this video with a friend, because your voice may save another dog. And don't stop here. Join me in the next video, where we'll uncover 10 human foods that don't harm but heal, adding precious time to your dog's life. Your dog doesn't need perfection. He just needs you wiser, watchful, and ready to love him in the way that keeps him by your side for as long as possible. But don't let fear be the last thing you carry, because now you hold the knowledge, and knowledge is power, the power to guard his life. Let's close with the truth these 15 mistakes reveal and what they mean for the years you still have together.